Hello, we're back here with another video. Today we'll be talking about who will the Denver Nuggets be drafting with their first round pick. If you haven't seen the rest of the video, we have done every team before the Nuggets. So the last video was 76ers and the Nets before that one. So if you want to see the rest of the videos, go check those out in my channel. While you're going there, subscribe. While you're there, may hit the like button and leave a comment down below. Let me hear what you guys think the Denver Nuggets will be drafting. So let's hop in, let's go for 10 likes, and let's talk about who will the Denver Nuggets be drafting. I usually do 3 players, so with the most likely player that I think they could go with, who could they be going? I'm a huge fan of Theo Maledon. If Theo Maledon does slip to the Nuggets, which if I was a GM, if I was an NBA GM, I would not let Theo Maledon slip to, what is it, like 23, 22 to the Denver Nuggets. No, I'm not going to do it. Theo Maledon, they do have Monte Morris, but is somebody tell me down below, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Monte Morris might be expiring after the season, or he'll be expiring after the following season. So if he has one more year on his deal, you have Theo Maledon being G League, get some muscle, put on about 30 pounds, because you want Theo Maledon to get to 205 because he's only 174 pounds soaking wet. Though, Theo Maledon isn't the most explosive athlete, but he's athletic. He can shoot the 3-ball. He shot 36%, and he shot 79% from the free-throw shooting. He has a great mechanic. He can get his feet set. He's one of the most efficient players who keeps his turnovers at a minimum. And the other thing is he has great size, 6'5". He has almost a 6'7" wingspan, and he has a really good frame. He just needs to put some weight on there, which will allow him to defend guards, shooting guards, and even some small forwards who are smaller or skinnier and not as strong. I think he's a player that has a higher ceiling, higher potential than the other French guy, Killian Hayes, but his floor is a lot lower, which I completely understand. We can all agree that he comes from a league that is actually a higher level of competition than where Killian Hayes plays, but he only did play 17 minutes, and he was more of a spot-up shooter than a lead guard. And the thing is like, you could say he lacks a level of aggressiveness. He's just an average athlete in terms of pure speed and shiftiness. Like, you're never going to see he's never going to jump out of the box in terms of athleticism. But he's not like crippled. He's just not an elite athlete. Okay. And the thing is that he's not the strongest guy. So you can see that when he's trying to attack the rim, or he's going against stronger guards, or stronger players on the defensive or offensive side, he's getting thrown around, which is a problem. But I think Theo Maledon would be a perfect fit to run the second unit for the Nuggets. I could so see him. He'd be such a perfect fit throwing the ball around to Will Barton, or is Will Barton still there? I would hate to say Will Barton, and he's not there. But Gary Harris is an example, or Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant and Theo Maledon would be a match made in heaven to be running pick and rolls with each other. I would love to have a pick and roll wing like Jeremy Grant and maybe Miles Plumlee, and they're running kind of like a triangle thing with Theo Maledon. I would love to see that. I think that would be such a phenomenal play. I would not complain about that. I think any player would want that. I think they would give him a lot of length, a lot of ability. This would just be really interesting. Next guy, Jaden McDaniels, guy who I think is still riding off his high school hype. He's had a huge high school hype. It's because he has an interesting blend of size, length, and agility. He's 6'10" with a 8'11" standing reach. I think it's like a 7' something wingspan. Like, he's a guy who could become a shot block, like a rim protecting 3-and-D guy. A stretch 4 with rim protection. So a 3-and-D big man who would play the power forward position next to Nikola Jokic. And the thing is Jaden McDaniels, his floor could be like a poor man's Jeremy Grant, which they already have. So if they were going to let Jeremy Grant walk or trade him for something, Jaden McDaniels could be a poor man's version to replace him. But as his floor, his ceiling could be something better than that. But look, he's 6'10", 200 pounds. That guy needs 40 pounds on him, 30 pounds at least, 40 to be good, 50 I would love for good measure. He's a guy who is super athletic, but will he lose that athletic ability if he goes up in weight? I feel like that could. He'll lose some of that explosiveness because he has to put on that sheer weight, and weight weighs a lot. Muscle weighs a lot. So if that's going to happen, I don't know what's going to happen with him. Look, he doesn't have much of a body. He's been in the college game for a year and hasn't improved that much. What's he going to do now? Is he going to improve more? I don't know. I do not know. Though, he's not much of a consistent shooter. He hasn't shown any greatness at anything. So why? Just because of his athletic ability and the potential, he could be like a pretty alright two-way forward? Is that worth it? Yeah, he averaged a steal and 1.6 blocks per 40 minutes, and his motor improved. But like, is that enough? Is that enough to entice you as a GM in the NBA? Is that enough? Would you want that on your team? So, I don't know. Like, there's nothing that's going to get him on the floor early in his NBA career because he's not a consistent shooter. He does have his wow moments, but that's just off of sheer athletic talent. But he's still trying to find his elite skill. He's more of a long-term prospect, and this is a team that isn't in a long-term situation. Or, like, they have Bol. They're not investing in another thing like Bol. So we're just going to, like, box this out. You know, suck it. So the next guy, who I love. Not really. I think he's interesting. Desmond Bane, 40% career shooter. And people are like saying, why is the 22-year-old thing's overblown? No, if you're 22 years old, you're usually a finished product. Yes, there's the cases where there's other players who aren't finished products. But normally, when you're 22 years old and you have 4 years of tape, we know what you are. We know who you are, okay? Like, I know what you're going to be. We know what you're going to be. You're in a box. This is a guy who at most is going to be a really good 40% shooter in the league, getting about at most 15 points. Get him his ceiling could be a poor man's Duncan Robinson. And that's a big if. That's a big fucking if. Okay? And he's never going to be a great defender. He has nothing besides his size. He isn't a really good defender. So where does that leave you? Why he works for the Nuggets is he instantly will help them shoot and space the floor, and he can be a mediocre defender to an adequate one at best. So, like, do you wanna go for Desmond Bane, who give you the shooting and all the stuff that if you think you want, or do you want to go with a guy like my boy Theo Maledon? Desmond Bane or Theo Maledon? Theo Maledon, a little bit of like long-term prospect. Desmond Bane's the contention now pick. I'm contending for now. So let me hear what you guys have to think down below. While you're there, hit that like button. We're going to pretend to like, subscribe for more NBA content every other day. As always, guys, hope you guys have a great day, because I don't know I will. So, listen, guys. Bye.